Thank you.
Senator Mwaura.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have known Professor Kindiki since the year 2005. When
What's your point of order, Senator Sakaja?
Mr. Speaker, you know, when I rose and questioned what is going on, there is a very dangerous precedent that is being set, Mr. Speaker. Standing orders 96, 1, 2, and 3 are clear about content of speeches, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, when a senator offends the standing order and we leave it to someone's conscience, Mr. Speaker, are we saying that then these standing orders are suggestions, or are we going to follow standing orders?
Senator Sakaja, I have made a ruling on that matter. What you are now doing is also challenging the Speaker, which is out of order. Senator Mwaura, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I knew Professor Kindiki way back in the year 2005. That time he was a doctor at Mwaura University, when we were working together on a project on human rights for people with disabilities with the York University. I'm sure Professor can remember that. And I greatly admired him. Later on, I could see him making commentaries on TV on various political and legal issues. And all of that, to the extent that therefore, in the 11th Parliament, we were able to meet in the House. And Professor Kindiki, if you see him on the floor of the House, you can see he's actually at peace, actually, with himself, because he has actually conducted himself in a very, honorable manner. And he also has not forgotten his pedagogy, because when senators speak, he almost wants to award marks. He would say, well, very well, you've spoken very well here and there, just to show that actually he's still having his eyes on the academy. And Mr. Speaker, you know, since I joined politics, I've come to see that politics really is the art of the possible, is who gets what, where, and how. In fact, it is, according to me, some form of amorphous formlessness. It is the informality that constitutes the formal. And so, therefore, there are no really clear rules. Because, for example, there is no way you can explain how an individual A would vote for an individual B and not individual C. There is no guarantee, there is no threshold, it's just a choice. And again, in politics, there are no permanent friends or permanent enemies, only interests. Now, the late minority leader, Francis Nyenze, told me when I joined Parliament, that time we had CORD and the Jubilee coalition of TNA and URP, and CORD of Wiper, ODM, and Fort Kenya and others. And he told me that, Mwaura, within 6 months, you start seeing people changing their political allegiances. These things we are calling here will change. And indeed, he was vindicated. It is the same thing that we are also seeing in this 12th Parliament. Interests have changed, and a lot have changed. And I would want to say, just for purposes of record and transparency, that some of us, as Senator Kangata alluded to, we are very much involved in ensuring that we do not come to this decision. And Senator James Orengo, you can bear me witness, and Senator Njeru Ndwiga and others. We really tried to ensure that indeed there is a pathway that would ensure that an alternative, that the party confidence on the part of Professor Kindiki is actually restored, is actually perpetuated, so that we can continue to enjoy his contributions and his presiding over this House. And I'm sure, Mr. Speaker, you agree that he's been very helpful to you. But having said that, I think there comes a time where decisions have to be made, because there's a matter of procedure. It is actually true, Mr. Speaker, that there is always this question about how parliamentary positions are filled, whether a party has the right to de-whip a member from a committee or a position of privilege, because all of us who hold any position in a committee or the House leadership are a result of the numbers. It's a game of numbers. It's a game of you are actually placed, where you are supposed to be. And that is the case. But then when it comes to removal, it's always a question of, is there an independence of parliament in that regard? So maybe in the future of our standing orders is something we want to canvass, because we are actually evolving democracy, to see to it that then you actually mediate that process, you interlocute that process, so that then it is actually neater and you're able to do much more. So Professor Kindiki, as I conclude, because I can see the yellow line is there, I want to leave you with these words. In politics, your future allies are your current nemesis, and your current allies are your future detractors. In the end, what matters is that you arrived at your desired goal and position, and both friend and foe, ally and the alienated, we reckon you are fan in their flame. Keep going. Thank you.
Senator Kabaka.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for this opportunity you've given me to also air my views with regard to these important motion. I won't repeat what other people have said. It's very interesting, and it is the very heavy heart that as humans being, we have to subject some of our colleagues to exigencies of the game of politics. I was just thinking that as a lawyer in this house, I've come to realize that what we've learned in School of Law and what we have taught in universities is not actually what happens in the parliament. In parliament is a different ball game. It's very interesting that a man of impeccable academic prowess, Professor of International Law, Professor Kindiki, has to sit here and be subjected to lectures by honorable senators, some who can also be students, with the due respect. But what do we do? This has come to analogy which happened in South Africa sometimes, where a sitting president had to be recalled by his own political party. That was none other than Thabo Mbeki. That's the time I started to learn politics. And this is exactly what is happening here. It's not a question of academic meritocracy. It's not a question of professorship, whether you went to ICC even to represent people. That's not the consideration here, Professor. This is the game of politics. And it's a question of numbers. When we are told also to append signatures, people, we also do what we call soul searching. Like in my case, as a senator of Machakos, I've taught with Professor Kindiki in various universities together, more so in particular, Kenyatta University. And I remember in 2013, both of us resigned to venture in this game of politics. Least did we know that things can fall apart. Very interesting. Professor Kindiki was lucky, 2013 you got the seat and you came to Senate. Kabaka, I didn't get it, somebody else got. But here we are today as friends. Because of the party politics, which is the hallmark of this game of politics. Because of party politics, Professor Kindiki, you happen to belong, lucky enough you happen to belong to the greatest political parties and the ruling party, Jubilee. It has its own benefits, and it's the same benefit which you derived when pursuant of Article 106 to C, I mean 1B and C, which applied. You are elected as a position, not of the Senate, position of a deputy speaker, together with even the speaker or other speakers, even in the other house, National Assembly, through the goodwill of the political party, which is Jubilee. So I don't see, in terms of politics, without putting moral turpitude, that absolutely the political party has a right to recall you. And if it has decided that they want to put somebody else, who are we? Who are we? It's a question of ganging numbers, and we put you where was when 1789 in French Revolution. The guy, I wish Senator Tangula was around as a great historian. He will tell you that a person who designed the guillotine, a guillotine, after that, he was the third person to be chopped. Absolutely. We are chopping you now, and I'm sure even in our side, I hear rumors we are also about also to be chopped. I know soon it will be Kabaka to be chopped, or Mutula or somebody else. So there is no, it is the right thing. In fact, if I were you, I would have even actually signed a memo to His Excellency the President, the party leader, and you should have exited longer than subjecting us to this afternoon game. I should be elsewhere teaching my children how to do assignment. So I support Mr. Speaker. Next time if the guillotine come to Kabaka, so be it. Thank you. I support.